This is Spoiler Country, a podcast about comics, movies, whatever, but mostly comics. Enjoy.
Previously on Spoiler Country.
You're like a good bowler, right?
Yeah, I was state champion multiple times for bowling for juniors. I won state champions
State champion? All right, welcome back to Spoiler Country. I'm Kenric. That's Johnny Horsley. And today's show topic is investing comics. I'm an avid collector, have been since 2014 on a serious level. I collected a lot in the 80s and some in the 90s, and then stopped there for like a good 14 years through the 2000s. So got back into it, and now I'm collecting quite a bit. My mentality about it, Johnny, is a little different.
Wait, what's that?
Well, I have my pull list of books I just like to read. And some of the newer ones I'm reading is Curse Words, which is an Image title. And I feel bad because I can't recall the writer and artist right now.
Isn't that Charles Soule?
It could be. I feel bad. I can't remember. Here, let me just pull it up real quick. I should know this.
Charles. Yeah, Charles Soule, Soule, and Ryan Brown.
Yeah,
or Brownie.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know, it's I don't know. I mean, I don't take it seriously. I don't take any of my comic books seriously, but you know, except for when I'm transporting myself into the world.
Right.
But
that's the fun part.
Yeah, that's the fun part. But it's a lot of fun, and it's a good book, and I would suggest anybody reading it. Scotty Young did a variant cover on it, and it was cool.
He has variants for everything.
Yeah, he does. And then, I'm reading Birthright, which is fun. And I'm reading, of course, Saga, which I think everybody should probably be reading. And I read Batman and don't read a lot of Marvel anymore. I read the first,
I win
10 or 11 Thors, but I've said that before in the past, so you're not really winning anything anymore.
I win, damn it, I win.
Number 1, 1-0. So,
woohoo!
Anyways, so I have those. But now, aside from my normal pull list that I read, weekly or monthly or whatever, whenever they come out, I also go about looking for books that I've always wanted as a kid that I couldn't afford before.
Yeah.
And and I've mentioned the Hulk 181 and the Amazing Spider-Man 129. Those are two books that I really, really want that are quickly going out of my price range even today.
Right, they're expensive books.
They're ridiculously expensive, and they're more than they should be. But it is what it is. If I have an opportunity to get them at a price that makes sense, then I'll pick them up.
Right.
But now I actually look at books, and sometimes I try to figure out, okay, this book is selling for this now. What will it be selling for in 5 years? I'll do a little bit of research. Has a TV show been optioned with this character? Has a movie storyline going to be going on with this? That's in line with this particular storyline, and I go through that. It's
right,
and then I try to make a decision. Do I want to spend this money? Do I not? Do I want to try to find it? Then I start thinking, well, at the grade that I'm getting it at, do I want to get it at a grade that is? I try to get raw. Right, raw books, ungraded. But I still look at it from a old school mentality of if it's good, very good, fine, very fine, near mint, that kind of stuff. And do I want to spend the extra money on do I want to get a good copy, which is, like a 4.0 for CGC people, or do I want to get like a very fine, which is like an 8.5, right?
Right.
And then, or near mint, which is, anything over 9, I guess. But and that dictates the price, right? That can, like, if you get a near mint, like, okay, so for example, I just picked up 3 books today, which is Conan number 1, number 2, of the original 1970s series by Marvel, and X-Men number 135, which has the classic cover of the Dark Phoenix crushing the X-Men logo on top of the comic book, where she defeats the X-Men. On the cover, anyways.
Right. Such a great cover.
Yeah, it's an amazing cover, and it's one of the best storylines the X-Men ever did. I mean, it still resonates through. Yeah, it still resonates through Marvel today. That storyline actually still touches storylines that happen today. because the people that are writing storylines today read those as a kid and they loved them. I mean, that's just the way it is. So anyways, so I got that book. Now I got these books through Wheeling and Dealing. I didn't actually pay for these, which is great. Knock on wood.
Best way to do it, man.
Best way to do it.
Best way to do it.
Yeah, when you can do it. And I looked it up, right? The first thing I did is I go on eBay and I look at the sold option, or I do the sold filter, I should say, and then search for my book. So I get a good idea of what people are actually paying for the books, because then I can look through them, right? And see, okay, this one looks like it's a near mint or even at the graded scale. If it's graded, then I cut it by at least half if it's a raw book. Does that make sense?
Oh, you take the greater price, you cut it in half?
Yeah, if it's raw.
Yeah.
Just because people are stupid and they pay more than they should be just because it's graded.
That's why I don't buy graded books.
Yeah, well, to me, a graded book should cost $45 to $50 more than the actual value of the book. And that's simply for the cost of getting it graded.
Exactly.
And that's it. That should only be the thing that should be charged on that book. But whatever. So anyways,
we have a whole episode talking about that.
That's right. You guys should check it out. So Conan, though, is like about $120 book in the condition. It's an amazing. Wait till you see these. Amazing condition, dude. You'll be like, what the, and the fact that they're raw.
That first issue of Conan is amazing. Just the cover on the art and the cover is just, I love it.
Yeah,
I've always loved that cover.
Yeah. It's really, really good, and it's just a lot of fun. So I'm excited to actually have this in my collection now. And then the X-Men. So, but I don't go through and I'm not going, oh, now I have X-Men 135. I need 136, 137, 138. I'm not thinking about runs as much as I'm thinking about key issues. And that's the investor mentality of me, that when I, because I'll probably never get rid of these books, right?
Right.
Unless something dire happens, I'll probably never get rid of these books. But when I pass away, then other people will, right. I'll give them to you. Yeah. But the thing is my entire collection will probably worth like maybe $5,000, right? It's not gonna be worth like a bunch of money, Right. Maybe more, maybe less, depending, because I do have some
You'd be surprised.
Issues.
I mean, you'd be surprised. Like we talked recently about that box of comics I had stolen, and it quickly got valued almost $9,000.
Yeah, but that's a totally different level of collection. I mean, that's part of your dad's collection that he bought in the 60s.
But unless you plan on dying in the next 2 years, let's say you get another 50 years out of yourself, then these books are 50 years older than they are now.
Yeah.
That value is going to go way up.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, it all depends on timelines and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, if I died today, they'd be worth about $5,000 altogether.
Okay.
And you can go through and pull out the key issues and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I want, right? I want to be able to say, here's my collection, and say, for, they get it and they look through it and they're like, and maybe they don't know, but they call you up and say, hey, can you look at these? Kenric said to have you check these out. And you go, oh yeah, key. These ones are the ones that you want to sell by themselves. These ones you can just sell in a bulk and don't care about.
Yeah, I'd be just like, nah, these are all crap. You should just give them all to me. There's nothing good in here. It's all junk. He didn't know what he was doing. It's all just crap. You
would be morally bankrupt if you did something like that. And then I think you would feel
do that.
so bad. I bet you'd get home and your gut would fall out and you'd be crying, oh, I fucked you over.
I would never do that, because I could never screw somebody over. I mean, I'm too much of an honest person to do shit like that.
Yeah. Well, so that's my mentality when I invest, is that I'm thinking more on, and maybe that's a terrible way to do some things on a collection. Now, I still get things that I love, regardless, because I have a pull list, and I still read as much as I can. You know what I mean? But then I still but now I have that added element of looking for particular titles and particular books that, issues within runs that I really, really want.
Right. See, I used to be, as you know, a little bit more eccentric with my collecting. I used to try and get complete sets and runs and key issues and first appearances. And at one point I had, a complete set of series 2 of Superman, Adventures of Superman. I had complete sets of all like the 80s and 90s and 2000s Superman and Batman issues. I was collecting Green Lantern, Flash, pretty much anything DC. I was like putting it into a box and trying to get a run out of it. And then recently I was like, I don't need 120 long boxes of comic books. That's a bit too much.
It's a lot. Well, you had designs of opening up your own physical comic book store.
I did. But also in the mix of all that too, I was also just, super collecting a lot of stuff.
Right.
Which, my wife's very happy that I've decided to change the way that I do my collecting of comics because it's too much.
Well, what did your investments after your father passed away get like?
Oh, I started before my dad passed away. I was just reading. I had my collection. I was reading some comics here and there.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really buying a lot of stuff. I was buying an issue here, an issue there of stuff to fill holes. But I wasn't like trying to build out a bigger collection. But then when my dad passed away, like my therapy for dealing with my dad's death, because my dad and I were very close, was basically to continue his collecting.
Yeah.
So I kind of just started buying stuff that he would buy, buying more into what his collection was to fill out the holes in his stuff, spending money to complete the collections that he gave my kids. So I ended up buying. He had given Cody a run of an almost complete set of Jimmy Olsen. He had number 2, pretty much 2 on. So I found an issue number 1 and bought that for Cody. So he has an issue number 1 for it. And I spent a lot of time just trying to finish out these collections my dad did, and kind of just went overboard on buying comics. Yeah. And at the time when my dad passed away, I personally had maybe 4 long boxes of comic books I had kept. Because over the years I have grown and shrank.
Right.
I had at one time, in my early 20s, I had 30 boxes of comic books, and I had sold that down. But when I got married to about a box and a half to 3 boxes, somewhere in there.
Wow.
And then over the years, I'd buy an issue here, buy an issue there. I'd go to a Comic-Con to get some exclusive stuff, and I'd throw it into a box. Yeah. But this whole time, we still had all the old business stuff from my old comic shop online I had with my sister and my dad at my parents' house. So there was, 250 long boxes of comic books just sitting there.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it was an 8x10 room full floor to ceiling. It's insane. So when my dad passed, one of the things I started doing was I would start just going to my mom's house, start flipping through boxes, looking for stuff that I liked, stuff that I wanted to keep, stuff that would fit into runs that I was trying to do, like the Superman, Batman, anything DC pretty much, or Wolverine, and pulling those out of the old business inventory. So my 3-4 boxes turned into 10 boxes and 20 boxes and 30 boxes. And then all of a sudden, half my garage was full of comic books from ones that I had taken from the old business, ones that I got from my dad, ones that I had then bought off Craigslist, bought off eBay. Because for a long time, I was bidding on comics every day on eBay. I would look for deals. I'd look for the best thing I could find. I had a thing set up. I remember I told you about this when we first started talking about comics. Is I had a text alert on my phone for Craigslist whenever somebody posted on Craigslist about comic books within my area. Yeah, I'd have it text me right away so I could be one of the first ones to message them to go try and look at their comic books and buy their comics. And I'd bought a lot of collections doing that.
Yeah. You know what I hate? I hate it when you go on Craigslist and you do a search for comic books and you're looking for, people that are selling comic books, and all you get is inundated with people that are looking for comic books.
I know. I wish there was a way to determine to say, no, I want to buy them, not sell them,
Yeah, you get what I'm saying, right? It's
people post in the for sale section stuff they want to buy.
Yeah.
It's like that's not you go to the wanted section.
Insane.
Yeah, I hate that.
Anyways, go ahead.
So anyways, before I moved out of the last house, I built up a ton of comic books. Then it took a couple of years after my dad passed away to get to where I was okay with only, I didn't, when you're a collector and you get the collector mind, you want everything. Especially for me, I become obsessed with it. I wanted everything. I mean, it was so bad one time, Kenric, that I bought, when Man of Steel came out, I bought the Walmart pizza box that had Superman on it, and I kept the pizza box.
No, you did not.
No, I did. I had it on my wall in my office for a year before I moved, and I was eventually just like, what the fuck am I doing? Why do I have a pizza box? Why am I keeping every little thing that has Superman or Batman on it? A carton or a toy box or something. Why am I not enjoying the stuff that I'm buying? I buy toys and I leave them in packages. I'm like, well, if I'm going to buy these toys and they're for my kids, why am I not letting them open them and play with them? Why would I buy this and not let them play with it? And so I went through all this basically inner turmoil, mentalness. All right, let's figure this shit out. To where there's an old saying that my brother-in-law, Mike Gordon, who's also an artist who drew a comic strip with me that we're actually going to publish a book for, I'll talk about later. But he always said, he's a collector. He collects antiques. He collects World War II stuff and Japanese samurai swords and stuff like that. And he always says, that live by the adage of keep the best, trash the rest, right? And obviously not trash them, but, sell them. So I was like, yeah, I mean, why? Why do I need to have all 226 issues of Series 2 of Superman. I'm not going to read them.
Yeah.
I don't care. I care about like 6 issues out of that run.
Exactly.
So
that's what I'm doing now. I'm cherry picking.
Yeah. I'll keep the 6 that I like. You know, there's a couple covers. I mean, some of the ones I like aren't worth shit. I just like the covers on them, or I like the story in them. So I keep the ones I like, and I got rid of all of the other stuff that I wanted. Like when New 52 came out, I had pretty much everything. As you know, I had all of it. I had the Batmans, the variants, the second prints, the third prints. I had all like 9 or 10 covers of Justice League. Why? I hate variant covers, but I fucking bought them all.
So you were marketed.
I was marketed. I was like, nope, I'm buying all this shit. So over the last year or so, I've kind of gone through all my stuff again. I'm like, I pared down from 100 boxes to 60 boxes to where right before San Diego, we talked about before, I sold 60 short boxes, and then I sold another like 10 or 20 a week or two later, to where now I only have.
Where do you put your comic book boxes? Because I'm always like deathly afraid to put them in the garage. So they're all in my closet.
Right now, they're right behind me. They're in my office over in the corner over there. But they were when we moved into here, they were in the garage, and
I want to get.
They were in the garage.
Have you seen those? Have you seen those comic book boxes that interlock with each other, so that you can create you can almost make them like furniture in a way, but they interlock with each other, and then they have their own drawers that pull out.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people like them a lot. I've seen a lot of them. I'm
kind of thinking that I might get that, because you can create the different stuff. Because you can stack the way you stack them up keeps them solid for one, and second, you can pull them out to actually get to them, because that's the one thing. I only do short boxes. I don't do long boxes anymore.
Same.
Yeah.
Hate long boxes.
Yeah. Only short boxes, which only cover how many books?
150 to 200, depending on how you pack them in there.
Yeah. And I have about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 12 short boxes. So I don't have a lot.
That's actually more. You have more comics than me now, because I'm down to about, not counting Cody's comics, because Cody has about 7 or 8 short boxes of his own. I only have like maybe 10 short boxes.
Yeah, what I want to do is either have you come up or I go down and we go through my books and create some bundles and sell them of the stuff that I'm just never going to go through or never going to want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just too much.
It's too much. Like a lot of the ones I have now, and the ones I've decided to keep, where I was going with all those huge, long, convoluted story I was telling, is now my mindset is I keep the stuff that I want, stuff that interests me, stuff that has some kind of a meaning to me, or
some type of intrinsic value.
Right. Something besides just that's worth money, or I need this whole run.
Right.
The only run in comics that I have is I have all 75 issues of Neil Gaiman's Sandman. That's the only run that I have.
Oh, that's a good one though. What's that number one selling for?
I don't know. I lost 20, 30, 50 bucks. I have no idea. I haven't looked it up in a long ass time.
It's got to
because I have it.
Because it's such an important.
If I have it, I'm not looking it up. You're not
looking
Sandman
it up.
number one.
As you look it up, you just said, if I have it, I'm not looking it up. And then click.
Not you asked the question.
I know, but it's just so funny.
Shit.
The way it came across, dude, it's funny. Come on.
Yeah. It sells for about $50 looks like.
That's it?
But number one. Yeah. But I have that. I have in that set I have number 8. I have, which is the first death, but I have both versions because there's 2 versions of that book. Because the first printing of that book had a note from the editor inside, but I think they printed 800 copies of that one, and then they stopped the print run, pulled that letter out, and then put a letter from the publisher in, and then finished out the print run. So I have both versions.
That's crazy. Russ had the I think it's a Justice League. I might be wrong. It could be a Marvel title, but I think it's a Justice League, and it has the first published work of George R.R. Martin, and it's a letter to the editor in back of a comic book.
I'm pretty sure it's an issue of Fantastic Four.
Is it Fantastic Four?
I think so. I remember hearing about it. I'm pretty sure it was a Marvel letter to the editor from. Yeah,
I think he might have sold it by now. He had it. He showed it to me. He's like, yeah, this book is like going up in price because because somebody realized it's the first. It's there's a letter in the back for George R.R. Martin. So even though it's not a published work of his.
Right.
Just the fact that he wrote in a letter, which cracks me up because it's just like, you got to be kidding.
Right. Yeah. Here it is. It's an issue of Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
It's Fantastic Four number 17.
Yeah, but the thing, which is, it's early enough that it's not an easy book just to go out and buy. And you're probably going to spend a minimum of $30 before it was the fact that George R.R. Martin was a known commodity and it was in the back. 'Cause it's only been a few months that people realized that's what it was, right? Or a year or so.
You can buy it on eBay right now there's one on eBay for $20.
Oh, let's see. There you go.
But that's one. All the other ones are up for like $100 a piece. There's one for $70 though.
Is that a bid though? Or is that buy it now?
It's a bid, but it only has a day left.
Yeah, but that'll go up. I bet you that'll go up.
It'll probably go up, but I mean,
people are watching it going, okay, I'm going to wait because everybody I do the same thing, right? 2-3 seconds left, I put in my highest bid.
Right, I used to do that. I used to do that all the time. Yeah.
Well, that's the only way you can win anything.
Right.
If I put in $20 for something that I think is worth $20, and somebody else wants it more, and they're going to put in 25, and then I'm going to put in 26, and then it fucking just keeps going up and up and up. But if I wait and I snipe it I guess that's the term. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't fucking care at that point because it's like, okay, well, fuck, what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? I'll never win anything.
Yeah, you put like $20 on it, come back, and somebody wins at $20.02. You're like, fuck you.
You know what I did one time? Oh, my God. So I have the complete run of Why the Last Man, except for the first printing of number 1, right? Which is hard to find. And it's like $300, so I don't know if I really want to buy it.
Right.
I got number 2 through whatever for $60, right?
Nice.
But dude, here's the deal, man. I was looking on my phone, right? And I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I was thinking about putting in $30. I was thinking about putting in $30 for the bid, right?
Yeah.
Because it was like at 20 at that time. And I was like, okay, I'll put in 30. And then I stuck the phone in my pocket, but I didn't hit the bid button, right? And when I stuck the phone in my pocket, it added 2 more zeros.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And so like an hour later, I'm looking and I'm like, why does it say my highest bid is $3,000 from 2 through 63 of Why the Last Man? I freaked out. And then the thing is, though, Johnny, the thing was ending in like a minute.
So you couldn't retract the bid?
No. Luckily, the highest bid was like $59, and I won it for $60.
So it was more than you wanted to put on it, but you still got it. Wasn't $3,000.
Yeah, dude, I was shitting balls, dude. I was like, oh my God, because what if it went up to 300, or what if it went up to 500? I would have been in for sin.
Yeah, you have to do it, otherwise you get fucked.
Yeah. That's how I got my Batman Adventures number 12 so cheap.
Yeah,
because the guy
just waiting.
No. The guy that I bought it from purchased 2 of them, and that one was a bid that he put in, but he didn't think he was going to win it, and then he got a 9.8 for like $300 cheaper.
Oh,
but he couldn't retract the bid for the 9.4 that I ended up buying. Does that make sense? I overpaid for that book, though.
Did you? What'd you pay for it?
I don't want to say.
More than you should have.
I don't want to say. It's too much.
I paid $250 for my copy of that book.
Right. What yours is like is yours graded?
Yeah, it's a grade. It's 7.5. I mean, I don't really give a shit. Like, to me, 7.5 looks great. It looks fine.
But you're not going to buy a 9.4 for $250.
No, I'm not going to buy a 9.4, but I probably wouldn't buy a 9.4 anyways because it's too expensive. I don't care.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I didn't have to buy it all at once. I made some payments on it, so it didn't hurt as bad. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what you paid for it. I remember now.
Yeah, and the thing is that at the time when I bought it, it was actually trading for that much.
Yeah, but now it's gone down.
It's gone down quite a bit, actually, which is kind of surprising. I'm kind of shocked. I didn't think it'd ever go down.
For those listening, that's the first appearance of Harley Quinn in comics.
Yeah.
That we're talking about.
Yeah. Which is cool. I kind of want to crack it open, though, because after us talking about all that stuff, it does kind of piss me off that I have it behind a slab and I can't actually read it and see how they wrote the story. I don't know how they wrote the story. I've never read it, which sucks.
So I think if you go to Amazon right now, you can get a digital copy of that book for free from Harley Quinn Day if you want to read it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll go. I'd check that out. That'd be cool.
I picked it up. I did it yesterday. There was a bunch of free books on Amazon left over from Harley Quinn Day and coming up for Halloween Fest.
Yeah,
so
you can just do it at Comixology.
No, on Amazon.com. That way it goes to your Kindle and to Comixology app.
Yeah. So we're going to do a Halloween special podcast, right?
I hope so. That's the plan.
Yeah, and I think the plan is to talk about horror books and the different books that we've liked throughout the years.
That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Yeah. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, we started off the other day talking about 30 Days a Night, which we can talk more in depth with, because I contend that's one of the best comic vampire books ever written.
Yeah, it's a solid book. I mean, Steve Niles does a great job writing horror.
Well, it's just how you think vampires should be. We're
Yeah.
food to them, not all this romanticization that Anne Rice has done and Vampire Diaries has done and everything else.
Right.
You know, and
People should not be
Twilight.
falling in love with vampires.
Yeah.
Vampires don't sparkle.
Right. Right. It's kind of weird. We're food. And it's kind of, I don't know. I never liked it. I read this series of books, dude, that we should actually talk about. And you might want to just read the abridged version or listen to the audiobook, actually. And they're called The Blood Wars it's the Necroscope Saga, right? And the Necroscope Saga is a bunch of books, but there's a compendium called Blood Brothers, Blood Wars, and The Last Heiree. And it's written by a guy named Brian Lumley. And the vampires of these books are horrendous. I don't know how else to put it, And the things that happen in the book is crazy. And it's super gory, but not in a way. It's not gory to be gory. You know what I mean?
What was it called?
The full series is called the Necroscope series.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. We talked about that before.
Yeah,
I
we
looked it
probably
up.
have.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
Yeah,
It looks. I haven't read it, but I recognize. Yeah, I know the covers because they were always.
Oh, they
very
used to be in the
detailed.
grocery store. You'd see them in the grocery store, and they would have like that skull, and then the vampire fangs, and then you'd have a long tongue coming out of the skull, and that was
Yeah.
on Necroscope, and it was like super scary. Brian Egerton, I think, is the artist's name. Oh my God, amazing artist, amazing stuff. And the writer, Brian Lumley, just does a great job on weaving this stuff. He's pretty old now, and they've been optioned for movies for a long time, which I'm kind of shocked that they haven't actually made it to the screen yet. But they're really, really gory, and there's some really, there's some hard stuff to read on a couple pages. But when you get to the nature of what these things are, you're just like, okay, this guy knows what he's writing,
Right.
He's not romanticizing something that would kill you because it's hungry.
Right. Exactly. Because I never understood. Like, I mean, I don't know. I read Twilight. I didn't really care for it because it's not my thing. I watched the movies with Kaylee, and the movies are terrible.
You read the book?
I did. I read all 4 of them.
You read all 4 of them?
It did.
That should have been your guilty pleasure.
No, but I didn't like them. I didn't like it. It was like, oh, Twilight.
Funny.
Oh, Edward.
But you read all 4. Like, if I don't like a book, I don't read the rest of the series. I'm like, I'm done.
I read all 4 so I could talk about it with Kaylee because she was reading it. She wanted someone to talk to.
Is
him
that
about
when you
with,
first
so-
started dating?
No, we'd been married for like a couple of years.
You should lie and at least say we just started dating. I was trying to really win her over still.
Yeah,
So
but
I
if
read
anybody-
Twilight. That sounds
but if-
romantic at least.
But if anybody listening looks up like the timeline, knowing that I've said I've been married for almost 11 years, and when Twilight came out, they know I'd be lying.
When did Twilight come out, though? That's got to be like the early 2000s, wasn't it?
2007, 2008,
And when did you guys get married?
2006. No, 2007.
Right there, see? Right there. You could like, she said no the first time, so I read Twilight. Then she said yes. No.
That'd be terrible.
I think she think it's funny that you read all 4.
Oh, actually, Twilight came out in 2005, so it would line up.
See? There you go.
Damn,
got
it.
your
All right,
story.
that's- hold on, wait, back up, erase that.
no,
Yeah, I
wait,
read them so
wait,
Kaylee would like.
wait,
Yeah, I read them all so I could win Kaylee's heart over because of her love of vampires and vampires sparkly fucking.
Her love of vampires.
Actually, she. Yeah, I mean, those books are terrible, but whatever. She made millions off of them.
You guys loved him so much, you were in a fan video, so.
Yes, we were. We went to
That's
University
classic.
of Washington, and we starred. Well, not starred. We were backups in a Bella Cullum Project Twilight fan video called "Safety First." So if you look it up, "Safety First" on YouTube, and go to about like I think it's like 3.5 minutes or something there towards the end, you'll see the girl who was supposed to be, Bella Swan pushed through Kaylee and me as we're kissing. I have a screenshot I'll post a screenshot in there when they post this up.
Because that's about investing.
Whatever. Investing in my marriage.
Oh,
God.
Man. Oh, God. Don't get
so back to investing.
sappy.
So, shut up. Stop it. Back to investing. So, now what I buy, because I told about before, I buy everything. Now what I do, I buy things that I want to read, because one thing that this podcast has done for me is it's supercharged by the amount of reading that I'm doing, which I already read a lot, but now I'm reading like 3 times more because I want to know all what's coming up. But I'm actually not reading anything from DC or anything from Marvel. I'm reading all
we're doing a
independents.
lot of independent stuff. We have some DC and Marvel books we want to review.
Yeah, sorry, I take that back. I'm actually currently reading The Immortal Iron Fist right now, back from the Civil War run, which is pretty good.
That's I think Comixology has like their own.
They do.
Like it's special just to them, right? There's no hardcover. Yeah. There's no hard copy.
Yeah. I'm not reading that one, but they do have one that is exclusive to Comixology, which I'm gonna read next. But mostly what I'm reading right now is stuff from Kickstarter, indie stuff on Comixology, or just like some indie stuff that I've had sitting around that I've always wanted to read. I just never got a chance to it because for a long time I was just reading everything DC, which honestly it's tiring. It wears you out because there's just so much, and it's not that it's bad. It's just there's just too much.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all the same thing, and then there's a lot. No matter what, it doesn't matter who you read. When you're reading a connected universe like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the big, the Trinity, and then everything else, and the same thing with Marvel, the X-Men, the Spider-Man, and Punisher, and all that stuff, and Avengers. At some point, the rehash of storylines just happens naturally because you can't help but you've already told 75 years worth of material,
Exactly.
And then how many times is Brainiac and Superman going to fight? You know,
and how many different fights can they have when Brainiac pretty much has one sole purpose?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, it does get tiring to read the same stuff over and over and over again. And it just, even with the rogues gallery that Batman has, it still gets old.
It does. It gets repetitive.
Yeah, it gets repetitive. Exactly right. And that's why going into the independents and checking out Kickstarter and doing all that kind of stuff makes a huge, it breathes new light into your love of comic books.
It really does. Because I just backed a couple new comics yesterday because
nice.
These look good. And one of them, actually, I'll tell you about this now. I was going to tell you about this off the air, but this is a perfect segue into it. There's a comic on Kicksology called After the Snow, which is 10 years after the tale of Snow White. And it looks amazing. And I actually emailed the guys from the show to see if we could get an advanced copy to read and review and talk about.
Yeah.
And they sent me a copy. So I have a copy of the book for us to read and
PDF?
talk about. And it's PDF, yeah.
Not perfect.
So because they're in Australia. So, but I was flipping through it last night, just looking at the first couple pages. The artwork is fantastic. If the writing matches the artwork, it's going to be an amazing book because it looks really good. So I have a whole, they said it's a whole like press release with like graphics and a copy of the book to read. So if you want to check it out for yourself, just go to Kickstarter and search for After the Snow. But we're going to read it and talk about it because it looks amazing.
The other one I want to do is the Cursed and the Few and the Cursed.
Yeah, that's the Few and the Cursed.
Amazing.
The writer of that, Felipe Cagno, he's actually the writer of a book that I backed a couple months ago called Too Good to Be True that I just wrote a review for, which I'll post on Tuesday on our website.
Yeah.
And yeah, The Few and the Curse looks really good.
It just looks like a lot of fun. And it looks like crazy.
I think I backed that one too. I'm pretty sure I backed that one yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I independently found it online and then saw your tweet out to the writer, Cagno.
Nice.
Cagno?
I think so. I think it's Felipe Cagno from Brazil.
Yeah. And when I read the synopsis of what the story was, it's like, I can't wait to read this. And it's on Comixology. The first 2 issues are on Comixology.
Yeah. And this is for like a collected works with like 7 different stories in it too, which is their current Kickstarter.
Yeah. It looks amazing. And I can't wait to read this. I think we should read that and do a review of it as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have time to read Too Good to Be True, it's worth reading. It's like 70 pages, and it's a really good story.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out.
So anyways,
go
back
ahead.
to I'm trying to get back to my investing conversation. We keep getting sidetracked. So now with comics, what I'm doing, besides the ones I'm reading, if I'm buying a comic to quote unquote invest for or to hold for the future, I think of a couple of things. One, is this something I'm even interested in? I don't want to buy first appearances of characters I don't give a shit about, Like, I'm not going to go buy the first appearance of Moon Knight because I don't really care about Moon Knight at all. But I want to buy characters. If I'm going to invest in comics, I want to buy stuff that I enjoy, stuff that I like, and I'll do things to make sure that the ones I buy are the ones that are going to go up. First appearances, first issues in a series, a death, an origin, something that makes sense. And anymore, sometimes now, like the first time an artist draws that character can be worth money. Like the first Frank Miller on Daredevil is skyrocketed in value.
Yeah.
And it's insane because all it is just the first time one guy drew the character, but it's worth like 4 times more than the books right around it.
Yeah, I have a large Frank Miller run on Daredevil that I forgot I bought it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I bought it all at once. I got to look. I don't know what numbers I have, but it's a pretty large. It's almost the complete Frank Miller run.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's a few key issues missing, but most of them are there.
It's a good run. So, and I'll buy, like, my dad had a thing for investing. My dad, as we talked to my dad, knew comics. He would buy and resell them and invest them all the time. But his thing was, if you truly want to invest in anything, and this was in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Like, but if you truly want to invest in anything, you need to put your money where the value is and go for things that are pre-1969 and older, because anything after that has such a high print run. And he's talking about comic books, baseball cards, any kind of collectible. If it's newer than like 1970, unless it's like a key appearance, there was tons of them printed. There are exceptions, like Wolverine in the 70s and some other ones there, but generally if you go 69 and back, you're looking at books that had shorter print runs as far as what survived to today. I mean, they may have had a larger print run, but stuff from the 60s did not survive as stuff from like stuff from the 70s. Because from the 70s, people were actually starting to actually collect them.
Yeah.
So you go from before the collector's boom, and 70s was the first big collector's boom in comics and in baseball cards and any kind of cards, really.
Yeah.
So that's where you go.
that's-
That's where the value is.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that statement. Like in the 80s, the comic book prints in the 80s started really ratcheting up, and then in the 90s it just got ridiculous, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I was talking to Russ over at Mill Geek today, and he was talking about the fact that, dude, in the 90s, the average print run for most of the Marvel titles was 250,000 to 300,000 prints per book, and that was average. That wasn't even being a big hit. And then you had things like the X-Men with Jim Lee, which 4 million or something like that, some crazy amount. But now, those print runs in the 2000s, because the bottom fell out in the 90s.
It did hard. It felt hard.
Yeah, and then in the 2000s, so I would contend that your dad's right, but I think collecting now in the 2000s and even up until today, the print runs are much smaller than they ever have been before. Considering the last 20 years. Like from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Now the print runs are probably about where they should be, maybe even less. Like if you look like The Walking Dead, #1, it's only a 7,000 print run. 7,000 copies, that's it.
Of #1?
Yeah. That's all they printed.
They didn't know it was going to be a hit or not, so they did
But
a
more
small
and
print
more are
run.
doing that. They're not taking the chances like they used to and print out 1 million copies or 250,000 copies or whatever it is, because they don't want to. They'll do a normal print run of like 10,000, 12,000, and they'll go. And Marvel just announced they're canceling 18 titles because they're selling less than 10,000 copies a month.
Yeah.
So those are playing on what your dad said about the amount of comics that were coming out. And I'm talking about the amount of titles, but the actual print runs of comic books coming out. It's less right now than it has been in a very long time.
Maybe I misspoke in how I worded that, because it's not that the print runs are less now or more now than they were in the 60s, because Jimmy Olsen was canceled with a print run of like 250,000 in 1974.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, because books in the 70s or books in the 60s had huge print runs. I mean, 60s people were eating up comic books left and right. People were buying them, but they weren't caring for them. They weren't bagging and importing them. They weren't,
they're folding them up,
them.
putting them in their back pocket.
Right. So even though current books may have a 25, 50,000 print run, which is less than what may have been printed in the 60s, 90% of the current books are going to be kept in mint condition. whereas 90% of the old books are going to be in crap condition.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why you go for the older ones, because there's less of them now, and most of them have been destroyed.
Yeah, but I mean, if you put it side by side with what you just said, and you're right. I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. There's always going to be more value in the older books. That's just a given, right? Because that's why it costs you an arm and a leg. Go get a Justice Society from the 40s. You're going to spend $20,000. You know?
Yeah, it's going to be expensive as hell.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a difference of the amount that's going in. It's like, if you're going to sell big ticket items. Totally get it. My contention is like, you're not wrong in what you're saying. I'm just saying that the print runs now are so much lower than they have been in so long. Throwing out grading or throwing out the condition that people keep their comic books in, just throw that out the window for now. I'm just saying that I think it's still a good time to start collecting because, one, the print runs are low. Like Saga #1, the print run on that's not very much. I think it's less than 20,000.
Yeah.
You know? And there's a lot of people that didn't get it, right? And then go find it now. It's a tough book to actually go get, except for on eBay.
Right. But you're also talking about a book that has a huge following and that is,
but
sought after.
Totally legitimate. I'm just saying that the print runs now are starting to be lower. I mean, because I can see where the print runs will start to go. Well, actually, no. I think the print runs will continue to be low because of the digital quality that people can go and do. Like you and I, most of the comic books we read right now is on our tablets.
Almost all.
Yeah, and
except for the ones I got from the cons.
Yeah,
so the ones we get at cons from people who want us to read them and review them. Everything else I get right now is digital because if I'm buying a book, I buy something for a collection or something that I want. It's old.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like I got the Green Lantern Green Arrow. Was it number 82 or 85?
85, the drug cover.
Yeah,
85.
Yeah, and I'm not. I like Green Arrow. I'm not a big Green Lantern fan. I just don't get him as a character. I don't get excited by it. I think the whole.
You don't like Hal Jordan. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah, I like Jonathan Stewart. I just like the attitude of Jonathan Stewart. Right.
Yeah,
that's what I like. I like the attitude of him. But dude, when they use the ring and they make a big freaking baseball mitt to catch somebody, that puts me out, man. I'm done. I'm like this.
I like that.
Yeah, I just don't like it. I think it's stupid. And it's too much. I mean, for me,
stupid.
Yeah, probably. But it just, I honestly, I don't get it. But I didn't buy it for Green Arrow or Green Lantern. I bought it for that Neil Adams cover.
That's a classic cover right there.
You know, I mean, that's what I want to put on. I want to get slabbed, and I'm not talking getting it rated because that thing would rate at a 3. You know, it's in shitty condition. But slab, like get one of the ones that you were talking about and just slab it so I can put it up on the wall because that's amazing art.
Yeah.
Period.
It's one of the best covers from that time period.
Yeah. So, so that's what I'm looking at too now. I'm cherry picking. You might be doing a little bit different of things that you're like, I want to read that. I want to check it out. And I'm looking at it like, do I think that book's going to have a little bit more value? If it's going to double in value in like 5-6 years, then I want to get it.
Right. So it's a tough bet. So the whole reason why I made the comment about the older ones is because if you're getting into collecting now, the one thing to getting into collecting for investing now, the one thing to keep in mind is always buy what you like. Don't buy things that you don't like, thinking it's going to be worth money, because that's how a lot of people get into these traps where they're buying. Oh, they're following these trends and they're buying these books, and all of a sudden, 1 out of 100 books they buy is worth money, but then they still have 99 books that are worth less than cover price because
right. See, I'm buying ones that are known to already be worth, and I know that they're going to go up. You know what I mean? I'm not taking chances on things.
Right. And that's the problem with buying newer books. I mean, you talk about Saga and Walking Dead. Yeah, that's great. But for every Saga and Walking Dead, there's 1,000 other books that have a lower print run or a similar print run that are still worth less than cover price, or maybe worth exactly cover price. I mean, case in point, a book that we love, Copperhead, did not have a huge print run on #1, and you can still buy #1 for cover price.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to change that by telling people to go get it now.
You have to be careful with investing in newer books, because if you try and follow trends on books that come out each month, it's hard because there was just Totally Awesome Hulk #22, which had the first Weapon H in it, which is a Wolverine Hulk hybrid character, that's shot up in value right away. that you could buy cover price and resell like the next day or the same day for $20, $30. Those don't happen very often. And you got to realize for every, there's one book that happens to new every couple of months, but there's how many other books that come out every month that within 3 months from now you could buy in a dollar bin,
Yeah. No, that's totally legitimate when you're starting collecting today. But if you collect against titles today, you have to have the long investment mentality.
Right.
Because you might get lucky on books that get hot right away, like the Saga #1 or Walking Dead #1 or, even Batman New 52 #1. That one was like cover price forever. And then all of a sudden it shot up to $100 for some reason. I don't even know why.
Which is crazy. It's crazy. It doesn't have a small print run, so
yeah, it's really kind of weird, actually. But or that what is that the Jacques cover with the Joker that all of a sudden is just worth an arm and a leg?
Oh, I don't know.
And it's only from a few years ago.
Is it?
And it's before it. I think it's the last Batman before the renumbering from New 52, or the second to the last Batman. Oh
no, it's the one with the Joker with the bat symbol eyes and all the bats in his head. Phone you up.
I don't know. It could be. It's a Jacques cover.
Yeah. It's here. Look in the Source Connect chat.
Let me see. Open in a new tab. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that
Detective
one.
880.
Yeah.
Detective Comics 880. That's an awesome cover. I actually have that. I actually have a poster of that.
Yeah, it's an amazing cover. I mean, that's Jock for you though, right there. Right, that guy is just ridiculous. Super nice guy too. We got to meet him.
Oh yeah,
talk to him.
We have a trading card signed by him.
It's right here at my desk, right in front of my Jeff Schutze Mouthful of Madness print.
Oh, you still have my Jeff Schutze Jeff Bot books too.
Yeah, they're on my dresser. So when I go down there,
I still have all this shit you left here too.
Yeah. So, but for some reason, I mean, amazing cover has nothing to do with what's in the inside of that book. And that book doesn't have any like major turning points or new characters or death or storyline plots that make a difference.
Just the cover.
It's just the cover. But
so
no one
that's
knew that. So, but I'm just saying, like, that's a shot in the dark. You got that book, and all of a sudden you got it for $2 or whatever the cover price was, and now it's like $85, $90 for that book.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of disagree with you there a little bit because of this. Historically speaking, in the world of collecting comic books, any comic book that has any kind of intricate something with Joker on the cover throughout the history of Batman, in any Batman storyline, or in the Batman comic books or in the Detective line comic books, the main two lines, any issue that has the Joker on the cover at almost any aspect, or even when the Joker crossed over like Action Comics, that issue gets worth more than issues around it, just because the Joker's on the cover. Because
right, but not by this much, dude. It's selling now for $76 for just a fine copy, and then one guy sold it for $425 for a 9.8.
That's graded.
Yeah, but I'm just still saying $425 for just because it has Joker on the cover. That's an outlandish amount, dude. That's not. Hey, I'm worth $5 more, or maybe $10 more. I mean, what's $880? What's $879? My point is this, though, dude. Let me make my point. My point is this. You're completely right in saying if you want to make money and you want to have ones that be worth something, going pre-69, 1969 is always getting better. I'm just saying that if today is still a good day to start collecting and start thinking about investing into comic books, because you might get, but you have to think of that that long-term investment in your mind, because you might get a Detective Comics number 880 or Batman 880 or whatever it is.
All I was trying to say that in historically speaking with Batman covers, if the Joker's on it and it's something that, if it's like that cover where it's something different like that, it's typically going to be worth more money. So it's not like it's a shot in the dark if you know about the Joker and Batman. It's typically if there's Joker on the cover, you can kind of bet, okay, that one's going to be worth a little bit more, because there was an issue of Secret, what was it? Was it Secret Origins or Secret? I think it was Secret Origins. No, it was Superman Adventures, the 2013 series that came out. That was all the webcomic ones first, and then they went into print. And then there was like 15 issues of that book. Issue 14 had Joker on the cover, and the day after it came out, because the Joker was on the cover and the Joker was like the hot thing at that time, it was worth 4 times the value of everything else around it, because it had Joker on the cover.
Yeah.
And it stayed there. So it's you know, because DC hasn't put Joker on a ton of covers. I mean, they have, because it's been 80 years, but comparative to other characters, the Joker appears on covers sporadically. Even storylines the Joker's in, he's not on all the covers, which is, I mean, he's appeared on more covers since New 52 than I think he had in the last like 20 or 30 years in the main 2 storylines, because he would only show up every now and then, and he wasn't used as like the main villain for the whole entire run, you know? So when the Joker showed up, because Joker is such an iconic character and everybody loves him so much, or at least they appear to, those ones went up more in value. Now, that cover there, the 880, is worth a lot more because of the cover and because of what it is than it, you know, probably should be, because there's nothing special about it besides the fact that it has a cool cover. But that happens. Like,
but that just solidifies what the only point I'm trying to make is that there are books of value that come out today, and that's one of them. And you could have bought it for price point, and then all of a sudden, you know, 2 years later, it's selling for $100.
Yeah. I mean, easily. I'm not.
That's all I'm
not
saying.
denying that fact. There's definitely ways to invest in comics, newer comics there today.
Yeah, because your dad's not wrong in saying that the best ones that invest in today is still, you know, pre 1969.
Well,
he's not wrong.
he was saying,
I don't think that's ever going to change.
He was saying the safe bet is to buy older stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Because
The safe bet is always going to be that.
It's harder to invest in newer comics because you end up with a lot of stuff that's not worth money.
Right. Hence my 12 boxes of short boxes that 90% of it's probably not worth anything.
Right.
Now there's going to be some runs that I'm not going to get rid of, like my Copperhead run. I'm never going to get rid of that because I love that storyline. And I don't know, it might be trading at cover price now, but all it takes is AMC going, hey, we really like this. We want to pick it up.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, Kenric has every single variant cover of #1, and each of them are skyrocketing because of it.
And what a nerd.
And what a nerd. Yeah, totally legitimate. But I'm just saying that's all it takes, right?
Yeah, it's all it takes.
And so there's certain things, but I have a lot of stuff that, you know, I love Birthright. It's a lot of fun to read. I don't know if you've read it yet.
I haven't read it, no.
It's from Image. It's fun. It's about a kid that gets kidnapped, but he didn't actually get kidnapped. He got teleported to an alternate universe that has a big war going on with this evil wizard demon guy, and he grows up there, and then he gets transferred back, and it's only been like a few years since he disappeared, but he's a full-grown man, with a bunch of battle experiences.
I think I read a preview on that.
It's pretty fun. You know, it's I don't know, it's fun. I have the complete run so far, and I do enjoy it. It's good, and I mean I like Image stuff more than DC or Marvel right now because you get such a unique storyline most of the time, and they're all self-contained, as opposed to this whole like, oh, you got to read this, and this to get the same to get the full effect of the story.
Right. And not everything's a superhero. Some stuff is stories, and they tell you because there's so much more than just superhero stories out there.
Right, and that's not to say that DC and Marvel don't have storylines that are not about superheroes. Like Men of Wrath is an Icon title, and Icon's owned by it's Marvel's adult, mature stuff.
Yeah,
and there's no superheroes in that thing, man. Let me tell you right now, there's just a bunch of assholes. But it's crazy. It's good. So, and that could be a movie like The History of Violence.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
It's a good movie, great comic. And I think a lot of people that went and saw the movie thought they loved the movie, didn't realize that's a comic book.
I can guarantee you most people didn't know that was a comic book.
Yeah.
Just like how most people didn't know Road to Perdition was a comic book.
I didn't know that.
With Tom Hanks?
I didn't know that until afterward. Yeah, I know it now, but I mean, I didn't know it when I saw the movie.
Yeah, there's so many movies that come out and TV shows that are based on comics nobody knows about.
Well, yeah, because they're rebooting and trying to redo so many things that they start to realize there's a whole medium of amazing stories that have been going on for 80 years.
Yeah.
And it's not just the superhero genre, because people think comic books, they think Superman, they think Batman, they think X-Men,
right?
They think Spider-Man.
They don't think anything else.
Yeah, and there's so much more. Like Saga. Saga's a space opera. There's no superheroes in Saga.
No, there's not. Saga's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a drama with in-depth character development.
Yeah.
It's not a superhero book. It's a lot different, but amazingly done and done very, very well. You know, read Why the Last Man. Same writer. We've talked about these two books before. Why the Last Man, one of the greatest comic book storylines ever put to paper. No superheroes.
Right, and that's one I want to reread. I need to pick up the trades that are buy it digitally. So I want to reread. I haven't read all of that story.
Yeah, I have the trade paperbacks.
All of them?
I think so.
Oh, I'll have to borrow them from you.
Yeah, the trade paperbacks are good. Just because you can just sit and read them and then, and go volume by volume.
Yeah, don't have to worry about not each book. I mean, I don't know. I used to love to read the books in my hand each time, but anymore I can just lay in bed with my tablet and read them on my tablet. It's so much easier. I don't lose my place. I don't have to worry about ruining them. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. Sometimes I love the feel of it in my hand, though. The smell of it.
I'm torn because
it's hard. It's all part of that. It's all part of the ritual.
Yeah,
I think it's more a part of the ritual than if I was a child of today, I could give a fuck less.
And honestly,
I could care less.
And honestly, for anybody out there listening, I don't care how you read comics, whether you do it with a physical book or you buy it digitally. It doesn't matter.
Just read them.
Just read them and have fun with them. I'm not going to be the prick like, oh, well, you don't buy the comic book and read them in your hand. It's stupid.
Right.
I
don't care.
I've actually read and watched and heard, listened to podcasts and shit, but people arguing over which one's better, and I'm like, neither one's better. They're both great options for reading comics. Who cares?
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. I mean, who cares? Just read them. I just don't let this medium die in any form. You know what I mean? And the more people read, whether it be digitally or be a comic book in your hand, great. And, the best way to do it, too, is if you can buy it direct from the creator, do it.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're doing independent, because that helps them out a lot.
Yeah, because every time you buy something from Comixology, while that's great and helps them out, Comixology has a cut out of that. But so if you can go, I don't want to say around that because Comixology is great, or any other platform to buy it. But if you go straight,
direct,
if you go direct, more money goes to the creators and it incentivizes the creators to create more stuff and do more with what they have, which is awesome.
Yeah, I just purchased a bunch from Kevin Joseph over with Tart.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I bought 10 volumes. Volume 1.
Oh, did you?
Trade paperback and 10 number ones. And I'm going to stick them over at Mill Geek.
Oh, nice.
But I bought them direct from Kevin, and he's going to ship them over to me, and then I'm going to put them over at Mill Geek and let Russ sell them.
That's cool.
And then we'll just split, and then I'll just get maybe I'll make my money back on what I spent. I don't really care because I just think that storyline, and I just think Kevin is such a great guy.
That book is such a gem that we found. I mean, I happened to back Kickstarter, and we just happened to meet him at Comic-Con. It's such a good book.
It's such a good book. The art is fantastic and a fun read, and it's like a psychedelic type of art that, like what Stephen Frank named it right off the bat when I told him it reminded me of American Pop. He was like, "Oh, that really psychedelic feel." I'm like, "Yes,
yeah."
That's what I was trying to tell Kevin Joseph because I don't think Kevin had ever watched American Pop, and I didn't want people to think that I was downgrading anything. It's not that. It's amazing stuff. That's what I liked about it.
It is.
So, that's why I. Beyond backing it, I just thought the stuff that he has now and the inventory he has now, if I can get it into Russ's hands to put on his shelf and say, hey, check this out, and give people a discount to be able to take it home, and then I can make the little bit of money that Kevin charged me back for myself, and then split the profit with Russ.
Yeah,
it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, because it gets his book on the West Coast because he's in Florida, and it's more people to read that story, which is it's a great story.
And then if they sell out really quick and people like it, then Russ can just order directly from Kevin after that.
There you go, perfect. We should try and get him into some of the other stores too up here.
Hills of Comics.
Yep, we should go to there and get Hills of Comics, and then there's a couple other ones I've been to which will probably be good.
Yeah. But I figured I'd just let Russ sell them, and if they sell, great. And then he can. I don't want to put any onus on Russ. I'm just going to put them there for free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if they sell, then I can recoup money. If they don't sell, then whatever. I don't, I'm not going to. But I think anybody who reads it is going to like it.
If they pick it up and read it, it'll probably sell. It's a great book. I'm not worried about it selling because it's a good book.
And I think and that's another thing. You want to take that long shot and you want to invest in comic books. Investing in independence is a great way to go, because if you were around in the early 90s, the late 80s, and you picked up The Crow.
Yeah, or Cerebus, Aardvark.
Or Cerebus.
Yeah.
Oh, the Cerebus in the 70s.
Yeah. Or picked up, Albedo or the Ninja Turtles.
Yep. Or Concrete.
All these things.
Or Grendel.
Grendel.
Or Grendel.
Yeah, all these things that are now
These are all
huge.
independents that were huge. Yeah, that took off.
Yeah, Hellboy.
And you can still do that today.
Yeah.
You can still find those independent comic books, and when they're really good and you love it, maybe it won't be worth anything, but maybe it will be.
Right.
And then you'll be going, I got this for $1.99.
Right.
Or I backed this on Kickstarter for $30 and I got all this extra stuff, and now they're making a movie out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, get yourself in on the ground floor there. It's just, I don't know. It's
fun, and it's exciting when something like that actually happens, and you can feel like you were part of the creative process, which is fine, but you feel like you're a part of it, like you're like before everybody else, and you're the in crowd before it actually happened, and that's only going to happen if you support independent comics.
Exactly. You're not going to get that from DC or Marvel or even Dark Horse.
Nope.
I mean,
nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Because you know what, you can, if you love just for example, if you love Copperhead. Right?
Yeah.
And you go onto Twitter and you tweet out to Drew Moss, who did the last 2 volumes, how much you love the artwork and the storylines. He's going to reply.
Well, yeah, and you can also
go tell Scott Snyder that you loved Batman 52. Unless she knows you, he's not replying.
Yeah, or if he does, you got lucky, because he gets a lot of people at him.
Yeah. You might get a heart.
Right.
You might get a like. You know what I mean?
I've heard Scott Snyder's a great guy, but it's nothing against him. It's just he's
nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with that. It's just the fact that somebody who's doing the independent scene and working on books is going to be more inclusive with you than somebody that's doing corporate stuff, even if they're doing amazing work like on DC and Marvel stuff. And Scott Snyder is I'm reading Batman Metal. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I haven't read any of it yet.
It's really good. Yeah, and Snyder. I mean, Snyder and Capullo did the New 52 Batman run, which was great.
Yeah.
If you haven't read that run, the Court of Owls storyline and the whole Joker storyline where he's cutting his face off. Get out of here, man.
So dark and intense, and
it's awesome.
Yeah,
it is awesome. And so Snyder's great, but that's not a knock on Snyder. I just pulled his name out of the air because he's a well-known artist or writer that you're not going to get an interaction like him. I mean, we can't get Snyder on our podcast as much as we want to and would love to have it, and we'll try to get him on. We'll keep trying. I mean, I'll you know what I mean? I tweet at him every once in a while, and I'll keep doing it.
Right.
But we tweeted Scott Godleski with Copperhead, and he was like, "Of course I'll come on."
And Drew Moss.
And we had an amazing conversation.
Yeah, we still have to schedule Drew Moss because he wants to come on.
Yeah, we need to do that, especially before he's off Copperhead.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a terrible way to say it, but I mean,
yeah, before he's done doing the book we like, after that, fuck him.
Yeah, that's not what I mean. It's just that I have a selfish need of knowing everything that's going on with Copperhead. That's just me, because for some reason that book really got me, and it really spoke to me in a weird way, and I just really enjoy it. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It is what it is.
It's a good book. I mean, it's a great book. So
yeah, it's a fun book. It's a lot of fun. I think that's what I like about it. It's just a fun read.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't have to feel like intense about it. Like I don't know. It's just different. But that's how we got like the Stephen Franks on and all them, because they're independents that want to come on. One, they want to promote their material.
Yeah.
Two, they're doing it, and they're doing it at a level that is different than somebody that has a corporate job that's getting paid a different scale. Like Stephen Frank has to love the characters that he's working with because he's created them and he's promoting them and he's doing everything with them. He's putting them in the situations. I think it's a little different. Now, somebody might come on, like a Ryan Cody, who might come on to our show and say, "Nah, you're fucking high." That's not entirely accurate. You know what I mean? Like Scott Snyder loves Batman as much as Bob Kane did, but I would contest that that's not really possible.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough.
There's a different amount of love that you get if you're the creator.
Yeah. Right. Cause
you know what I mean? It's like you've given birth to this. It's not the same thing as somebody that's been writing, like the character's been out for 80 years and now you have a new person just, here's the new boss, same as the old boss kind of thing.
Right.
That's what I think about. Not that they don't love doing what they're doing and not going to make these amazing storylines, because they, you're going to have some bad storylines and you're going to have some amazing storylines and you're going to have some legendary storylines that change the course of the character, albeit Mike Grell with Green Arrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Not albeit, but for example, Mike Grell with Green Arrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that in itself tells me that, but even, sorry, I lost track of my thought there for a second. Even Mike Grell changing the way Green Arrow is, and he loves the character, doesn't have the same, he can't have the same relationship as the creator of the Green Arrow. You just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, because, well, I don't know.
Are you telling me that somebody has has the same intense relationship with Superman as Schuster and Siegel?
I would say that after 80 years of a character being in there, that there are more likely people out there who are fans of the character that are more intensely intertwined with that character than the creators were when they originally created it, because of how the character's changed. These people would have grown up with the character their entire life, which would have given them a certain insight into that character of growing up, watching it grow with them, growing up with the character.
But isn't that more like a sibling though than a parent?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because I think Siegel and Schuster would come back if they could be here today and see the impact that Superman has. And they had an idea before they died what the impact that he had, because they were around when the movies came out, and that changed everything with Superman.
Yeah,
in my mind.
Oh yeah.
But if they were around today, the amount of pride of what their character represents cannot be on the same level of anybody else. I just don't see how.
I see what you're saying. I would say that's true for that's definitely true for in most cases, and probably generally all cases. But there's definitely some people who create characters that are throwaway characters that end up getting life they don't like.
Yeah.
And in that case, I mean, I can't think of an example.
Yeah,
off my head.
That's true. Yeah. I guess it depends on. But see, when it comes to an independent comic, though.
Yeah, that's
right?
different. That's different.
And I think that's that's the passion that you get out of reading that book for what goes into it, unless they're just a terrible writer, and that's out there. And I feel bad for the people, because they put so much work into it and they just don't have the talent that you know what I mean? There is a point where, I mean, you can learn it, and over time they might become like they might become great, but that, they might not have the talent at the beginning, and but they're still going to love their work.
Yeah.
They're still we might have the shittiest podcast in the world for all I know, but I love doing this.
Yeah. Right.
And I love talking with you and going over everything and editing it down and putting it out there, and then being a total geek and looking at our stats and seeing how many people have listened to our stuff. Not because it gives me a huge ego. It's just that I love sharing it, and I want to see how many people are out there listening to what we're doing. And, because I don't think I'd care if one person listened to it all year long.
If it's one person, it's like, we reached one person. I'm the same way. I just want to know that somebody's listening. It's like with my comics. As long as somebody reads it and enjoys it, I'm happy,
Yeah.
Which is a terrible way to do business. But it's personally, I'm like, if one person's like, oh, your book was really good or your artwork's really good, I'm like, I feel justified. I'm like, okay, I did a good job. Yay. Me.
Yep.
And we,
well, all right,
and
guys.
We don't, and we don't have the shittiest podcast out there. I know that for a fact.
I don't think we do. That's not what I'm saying.
I mean, have you heard YTCL
I was making
Radio?
a point. What does that mean?
What do you think?
What are you saying about YTCL Radio?
I'm just saying. That show.
Oh man, I'm gonna play this segment for Kaylee.
In all fairness, I do just shooting shit. But
that's a fun show,
it's
dude.
Fun.
Everybody should go out and check out Y2CL Radio. You guys have a lot of fun.
Yeah. But I like this show.
It's
I
like
full shows.
It's just, well, it's different.
Yeah.
We're a different type of show. We, that show is just you guys shooting the shit, right?
Yeah, we just pick a topic and talk about it and random shit around the world. But whatever.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was just making a funny joke saying that my other podcast is shittier than this one, which is a low bar to go. That's all I was saying.
It's a low bar. That's funny.
So hold on.
Well, all right, guys.
But wait,
go ahead.
before you, I'm going to stop you again.
Killing me,
I'm
man.
going to keep stopping you because I want to point something out to you. Do you realize this episode was our investing episode, but it's actually 2 episodes. This is our investing episode and our why we need independence episode.
Oh, I guess we did.
We did both topics.
Yeah, I guess so. That's all right. We might do. We'll do another independent episode.
Yeah.
Because I think what I'd like to do is get a few independent people on.
Yeah.
And talk about their experiences and how they go through and what why they do what they do and because if you're doing independent comics, you have to have a second job. You're not making no money.
Right.
Unless you get lucky and you hit the lottery.
And I mean, there are some out there that do that, but in general, if you're like. It depends on what you consider independent, but you're doing more than just your independent book. Whether that second job is actually going to place for a job or working for people besides your own book, you've probably got more stuff going on.
That's right. Okay, we're good.
We're good. Now you can do the closing.
Okay. All right. Hey, there you go, guys.
That's a show.
That's a show and a half right there. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a good conversation. It was. Man, you start thinking about things and you go some strange places when you start really thinking about what we're talking
Especially
about.
on this
hopefully, yeah, and hopefully people give collecting a chance. I think it's good. I think people getting out there and collecting books and breathing new life into into an industry that could always use more people, and don't just discourage other people from liking different books than what you like.
No, I like what you like. I mean, ultimately, the closing thought for this for me is if you're going to collect and invest or just read, collect and invest or read what you enjoy, what you like. And ultimately, if you're not having fun with it, you're doing it wrong.
That's right. Have fun. If you're not having fun, try something else.
Exactly.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. Don't forget, we're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. You can listen to us on TuneIn. You can listen to us on SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, Play FM.
Oh, yeah.
Play.fm.
Yeah.
That's right. Remember, if you listen to us on iTunes, give us that 5 stars.
Yes.
Don't be messing around with no 4 stars. You mess around with 4 stars, it's a waste of time.
We'll
We'll
come after you. I'll find you.
That's right. Right. We'll come after you and cry and beg for
Please
that.
Please give us 5 stars.
Yes. So there you guys go. We're out of here. Peace.